Unveiling the secrets below, the echo of a giant, unveiling the secrets below. On a cold, clear night in April 1912, the world's most famous ship met its tragic end. The RMS Titanic, celebrated for its size and luxury, struck a massive iceberg. It sank into the frigid depths of the North Atlantic. The ship vanished from sight, and from human reach for over 70 years. Its resting place became one of the 20th century's great mysteries. The world held its breath in 1985. An expedition led by Dr. Robert Ballard located the wreck. The discovery was monumental. They didn't just find a hull, they found a vast collection of objects across the seabed. These items were more than wreckage, connections to 1,500 souls lost. 2.5 miles beneath the surface of the North Atlantic, nestled in the abyssal dark, lies the final resting place of the Titanic. The vast area between the ship's shattered bow and stern sections is known as the debris field. This is not a random scattering of junk, it is a vast, solemn landscape, a somber tapestry that stretches for several square miles across the ocean floor. As the great ship broke apart and plunged into the icy depths, a cascade of thousands of items was released from its interior. Everything that wasn't bolted down, and much that was, rained down through the water column. Intricate woodwork from the grand staircase, the personal belongings of passengers and crew, and massive, heavy steel sections of the hull itself. These objects settled into a wide, fan-shaped pattern across the seabed, a forensic map of the vessel's final, catastrophic moments. Exploring this field with remotely operated vehicles is like walking through a ghostly, silent museum where each artifact is a frozen moment in time. Here, a pair of leather boots rests neatly on the seafloor, a poignant reminder of a life lost. The leather is preserved by the cold anoxic water, but the body of their owner has long since vanished. Nearby, a porcelain doll's head, detached from its body, stares blankly into the eternal abyss. Further on, a surprising discovery. A crate of unbroken champagne bottles, their contents still sealed after more than a century in the crushing deep. The arrangement of these items tells a complex story. The heavier steel pieces fell more directly, while lighter objects drifted further, painting a picture of both violent breakup and a slow, gentle descent to their final resting place. The ship's galleys left behind stacks of plates, many still bearing the proud White Star Line logo, now lying in silent, ordered rows. Piles of coal that once powered the giant engines, and decorative floor tiles from the smoking rooms, a mix of everything that once filled the magnificent ship. Today, advanced mapping techniques like photogrammetry allow us to create millimeter-accurate 3D models of this sacred ground, preserving it digitally. The debris field is more than a collection of artifacts, it is a complex puzzle, a memorial, and a powerful historical record still revealing the Titanic's final, tragic moments. The most iconic is the bow section. It sits upright, surprisingly intact from a distance. Its prow is buried deep from the force of impact. This section is about 470 feet long. It contains forward cargo holds, the crew quarters, and the front passenger accommodations. Forecastle details, anchor chains, capstans, haunting and majestic. The stern tells a far more violent story, about 2,000 feet apart. It likely cartwheeled and imploded as it fell. The result? A mangled jumble of decks and steel. The massive reciprocating engines, each the size of a 3-story house. Once the heart of the ship, now silent. The big piece, recovered in 1998, showed rivet rows and steel quality. Boilers, davits, the ship's bones anchoring the site and memory. Perhaps the most moving discoveries are personal belongings. They create a direct, emotional link to individual lives. They transform history into personal stories. Pairs of shoes and boots are common, often marking a life once at rest. Tanning-made leather resists the bacteria that consume other materials. Many shoes survived remarkably well. Suitcases and trunks became time capsules. In 1987, a satchel of William Henry Allen yielded papers and a book of poetry. A stunning collection, remarkably preserved. Gold, silver, precious stones, a diamond and sapphire bracelet, a man's pocket watch, gold coins. One watch stopped at the ship's final hour. In disaster, possessions meant nothing. Everyday items bring lives into focus. We can picture moments aboard, hours before tragedy. Each item is a whisper from the past, powerful because it's relatable. They connect us across a century, reminding us this is a tragedy of people, not just a ship. Amid the vast debris field, scattered remnants of daily life tell a deeply human story. The Titanic was a floating city, renowned for its luxury, especially in its opulent dining rooms and cafes, which catered to every class. Thousands of dishes abound, many still neatly packed in their wooden crates, which have long since been consumed by microorganisms. The iconic White Star Line logos remain vivid, perfectly preserved in the crushing pressure and near-freezing darkness of the deep. Nearby, impossibly delicate, crystal glassware survived the violent descent, saved only because it landed in soft, forgiving mud that cushioned the impact. These fragile survivors create a poignant contrast with the colossal, ruined steel of the hull, a testament to the unpredictable nature of the wreck site. Organic materials like wood were the first to be consumed by the abyss, yet the skeletal forms of iron table legs and brass chair frames remain, outlining spaces where passengers once gathered. A single, complete serving dish evokes a perfectly set table, a meal interrupted, frozen in time for over a century. The ship's galleys tell a story of the immense industrial-scale, culinary work that happened behind the scenes, a hidden engine of service that powered the luxury. Simple tools, once held by human hands, prepared thousands of meals a day. But as the ship began to founder, one small room became the most important on board. In the final, desperate hours, the nerve center of the ship was the so-called silent room, the Marconi wireless room. From this small, isolated cabin, two young wireless operators, 25-year-old Jack Phillips and 22-year-old Harold Bride, sent out the increasingly frantic distress calls that would echo through history. CQD. Then the new signal, SOS, a desperate plea for help, tapped out into the freezing night air. It was the ship's only lifeline to a world that had no idea it was dying. Their tireless signals guided the RMS Carpathia through treacherous ice fields, directly contributing to the rescue of all 705 survivors in the lifeboats. Today, parts of the powerful 5-kilowatt rotary spark gap transmitter lie scattered and corroded. While the main set is believed buried within the collapsing structure, key components like transformers and condensers are still visible. A ship's telegraph key recovered from the debris field serves as a powerful symbol of Titanic's last voice, a direct link to the operator's final heroic moments. But the state of the wreck has forced a difficult question. Plans to recover the full Marconi transmitter raise profound ethical debates. Should we intervene to save this priceless piece of history, or must we leave a designated gravesite undisturbed? For 73 years, the Titanic's final resting place was a profound mystery, a ghost haunting the North Atlantic. Then, on September 1st, 1985, that all changed. The long search was over. The uncrewed submersible Argo, sweeping the seafloor with sonar and cameras, transmitted the first ghostly images, the very first positive identification, one of the ship's massive boilers, standing sentinel on the seabed. Early dives were primarily photographic surveys. The small, tethered robot, Jason Jr., ventured where humans could not, exploring the ship's decaying interior and capturing haunting images of a world frozen in time. For many, the discovery confirmed the site as a sacred memorial, the final resting place for over 1,500 souls. This raised complex ethical questions about how to proceed. Intense legal and ethical debates followed, ultimately leading to exclusive salvage rights being granted to RMS Titanic, Incorporated, designating them as the official stewards of the wreck. Subsequent expeditions, using the French submersible Nautil and increasingly advanced ROVs, began the painstaking work of recovering artifacts, each maneuver executed with surgical precision. A gentle grasp, a careful placement into a recovery basket, and an hours-long ascent to the surface. Every single dive was a high-stakes operation, balancing discovery with preservation. Once on the surface, the clock starts ticking. Sudden exposure to the oxygen-rich air can rapidly destroy delicate artifacts, so conservation must begin immediately, right on the recovery vessel. This is followed by months, and sometimes years, of meticulous desalination and chemical stabilization. This crucial work ensures their stories are preserved for generations to come. Down in the deep, the near-freezing temperatures, extreme pressure and oxygen-poor water dramatically slow the process of decay, preserving organic materials like paper, wood, and even food. But the ship's steel hull is under constant assault from microbes, most notably a species discovered here and named for the wreck, Halomonas titanici. These bacteria literally consume the ship's iron. They create the iconic rusticles which grow, break and fall away like icicles of decay. It's estimated that hundreds of pounds of iron vanish from the wreck every single day. The immense pressure of 6,000 pounds per square inch crushed any hollow spaces during the descent. Yet solid artifacts, like bronze fixtures or ceramic dishes, endured as the pressure was equal inside and out. The soft, deep silt of the abyssal plain also played a role, cushioning many objects from the impact and shielding them from corrosive currents, creating an anaerobic protective layer. Yet, the site is not static. The bow and stern sections continue to weaken, and iconic features like the captain's bathtub have disappeared as decks collapse year by year. The decay is relentless. This is why the recovered artifacts are so vital. They are tangible touchstones to the past, transforming a distant myth into a deeply personal and profoundly human story. A toy or a love letter pulls the Titanic from pages into our present, real, personal, immediate. They teach scientists, engineers and historians, shipbuilding, metallurgy, deep-sea effects, rivets and plates help explain why the hull failed, informing modern safety. They fill the details of an Edwardian world that vanished in 1912. The wreck site is a final resting place. Recovered objects are treated with utmost respect. They ensure the people of the Titanic are never forgotten. Themes of ambition, fragility, and the human spirit endure. A cautionary tale, and a story of heroism and remembrance. Objects below, and those brought back, keep the story alive. They are keepers of a legacy, silent witnesses that still speak. Beneath 2.5 miles of ocean, the Titanic continues to teach us about technology, about humility, and about the lives behind the legend. May we remember, learn, and honor. Thank you for watching.